So today we're going to be working on getting Candy to move forward and not have her back up as much as she was the other day. We've already managed to get the halter and lead rope on her today without her, freaking out. She's already doing really good this morning.
So what I'm working on today with Candy is to have her give her nose to halter pressure. So what I'm looking for is for her nose to tip towards me when I ask it to, like she did. And as soon as she does, I release the pressure from the lead rope. So what you do on one side, you always do on the other. So I'm gonna ask her nose to tip towards me, and as soon as she does it softly, I release all tension on the rope and let her have her head back. And here I'm gonna ask again, and it took her a second on this one, so you can see her paying attention to me with her ear, and she finally gave me the right answer, so I told her good girl. And then I'm going to ask her to give her head back because she's paying attention to her friend instead of me. So I get her head back around, and then I ask her again, and she picked this up pretty quickly, and as soon as she softens, I release. So the second thing that I worked on today was desensitizing her to the stick and string. I know that ropes don't really seem to bother her, but it's still a good tool to just have her know. So I'm not actually looking at her because horses can feel pressure just from your eyes. So I'm looking past her in the distance. And then here in a second, I'm going to hit it on the ground, just back and forth. And again, I'm not looking at her, I'm looking at the ground. And I'm just doing it in a rhythmic pattern and putting really no energy into it, because if I do, then she's going to know like, oh, something's up. So I'm just doing it in a rhythmic pattern and not really paying any attention to her. So I'm doing the exact same thing on the other side. So I'm just doing a little more of actually tossing the rope up on her back instead of just rubbing it on her back. You can see that she pays attention with her ears, but she's overall pretty relaxed and doesn't seem to mind. And then I'm doing the exact same thing, just tossing the rope back and forth. Again, not really looking at her, I'm just looking down at the ground. So the third thing that we worked on was yielding her hindquarters. So what I'm looking for is her front feet to stay perfectly still and for her to cross over with her back feet. So she did like a half a step with her back feet, and of course she moved her front feet, but I was still happy that she tried, so I was rewarding her for that effort. And we kind of made a circle, but I was still looking for that really good crossover. And she's still using her front legs, and I was waiting and waiting, and finally I got a good step, and of course I was right in the way of when she did it, so you can't really see it that well, but I heavily rewarded her for that. So I moved to her right side, and when I asked her for the first time on this side, she actually gave me a really good crossover, so I was really proud of her for picking up on this so quickly. So of course, lots of scratches, telling her she's a good girl. So I'm going to ask her again, and she's picking up to do it a little quicker. Of course, it's still not a perfect crossover with her hind legs, but a try is a try. So again, I'm going to ask her one more time, and it was pretty okay. So I kind of ended it there on that side. So we worked on leading today also, and luckily she did not throw any of her fits, but I got her to come forward. Now I'm not looking for any direction at all. I do not care where we're going as long as she's going forward. So it's kind of me following her, but as long as it's forward, I am perfectly fine. So I am asking her to stop here, so I slowed my body down and I stopped and I pet her. So here she's wanting to move forward, so I'm just kind of guiding her Now, something did spook her here. I do not know what spooked her, but I tried to turn her on a little bit of a circle and have her face me, and then I had her face the direction from whatever spooked her. I don't know if she heard something or saw something in the corner of her eye. I really don't know. So I tried to guide her down the hill again, but I've also realized that she has a bit of a problem with planting her feet. So she kind of gets stuck. So I kind of just have to be really patient and lightly ask her to come forward. And as soon as she does, I take all pressure out of the lead rope. So here I'm lightly asking, and I'm just looking for, even if it's a tiny step forward, I'm looking for her to come forward. So here she did. So I actually wanted to see if she would turn and face me when she walked away, which she did, which was what I was looking for, which will be beneficial in lunging. So I added this clip because my whole goal was to get her to move forward, and off camera she would not do that. So I'm asking her to step into a trot. Now, of course, she does not really know how to lunge yet, so as soon as she did step into a trot, she tugged on the lead rope and slowed herself right back down. Now, the last thing that I worked on was having her back up. And here I'm having her yield her hindquarters because I didn't want her backing up into the other horses. So here I'm going to ask her to back up, and she actually picked up on this pretty quickly, which I was really surprised. So here you can see I'm asking her to back up, and I get 2 steps, so I'm rewarding her for that. And she's been really good today. She hasn't been acting out or doing anything really bad. So here I'm going to do the opposite of what I just did and ask her to take a step forward. So her feet get kind of sticky, so this is a big waiting game on my part and just being very patient with her. I'm not looking for a huge step or anything, even if it's a tiny step forward. As long as it is a forward movement, I will be happy. So I kind of turned my side to her and see if that would help. So she took a step forward, and I rewarded her for that. And that's where I left it for the day.